Did you know we live in a world with genocides? A genocide is a mass extermination of a specified group of people. You may have heard of the Holocaust that happened in Germany. 6 million Jews were killed, and we said never again. Yet today, genocides continue to happen in places like Rwanda, Venezuela, Brazil, and Darfur. I want to tell you about the one that's happening in Venezuela and Brazil.
The Yanomami, which means human being, were Indians living in the Amazon rainforest. They have inhabited the region around the Orinoco and Parima rivers for the past 1,000 years. Isolated by the forest, they never saw anyone else, but other indigenous tribes. It wasn't until early 1900s when they had direct contact with outsiders. They were just men, women, and children like you and me.
In the mid-70s, the Brazilian government began construction of a highway that cut through Yanomami land. Soon miners started an invasion of the Yanomami's mineral-rich land. When the Yanomami people started getting in the way and asking for gifts, miners started killing them. Anyone they saw who looked indigenous or native to the land was killed. Even if the Yanomami weren't getting in the way, they killed them anyways. In one town, miners killed everyone but a few lucky survivors, only because they ran away too fast. The miners saw them as savages and treated them as if they weren't human.
The Yanomami were dehumanized during this genocide. People called them maggots and told them that the Yanomami weren't even human. They were called all sorts of mean names.
The mining company leaders took the lead in destroying the Yanomami. They told the miners that if the Yanomami got in the way, they were to be killed. They even provided them with guns and other weapons to use against the Yanomami. Miners went as far as invading villages and killing everyone in them, burning huts as they went.
The Yanomami separated themselves from other populations only because they didn't know other people existed. They were a very peaceful tribe and they rarely fought with other indigenous Yanomami tribes. It wasn't until the early 1900s that they had contact with the outside world. That was a bad thing. With new people came new diseases they weren't immune to.
The mining company prepared for this genocide by handing out guns and weapons to the miners and told them to kill the Yanomami. They burned and destroyed the bodies. It wasn't a spontaneous idea to start killing them, but the board members of the mining company had to decide what to do because the Yanomami were slowing down the mining process.
There are many accounts of killing the Yanomami tribes. Miners killed them for no reason, but only because they were told to. The miners were too greedy for the gold to care whether a Yanomami lived or died. They also killed them unknowingly in two ways. First, they gave them diseases that they never had before. Things like the common cold, scarlet fever, typhus, measles, malaria, the flu, hepatitis B, and pneumonia killed them because they hadn't built up the immunity against it. Second, they killed them by poisoning their national resources. In order to separate the gold from the other ores, they used mercury. When they put mercury into the ground, it percolated into the rivers and streams. So when a deer drank from a river, and then they killed the deer and ate it, they got sick because of the mercury. They also drank straight from the river, and that got them sick too.
The leaders of the mining company denied the fact that they told the miners to kill the Yanomami and that they gave the miners weapons. The miners denied killing the Yanomami and burning down the villages. Even though the miners denied it, they were tried and they went to jail. In one account, in August of 1993, Fania denounced the massacre of 73 Yanomami. Fania was the mining company that sent the miners to invade the Yanomami land. The effects that this genocide had were tragic. Miners killed thousands of Yanomami. It was a shame how many people just stood by and let it happen. But this genocide is still going on. The world has changed. Lots of scientists learned new things about the Yanomami. They learned about the indigenous culture, ethics, and religious practices. There is still a lot to learn about the Yanomami, and the only way to learn is to keep them alive and stop this genocide. You can help prevent genocide by stopping it at its earliest stages. As humans, we normally classify people every day, like saying somebody is blonde, tall, short, and so on. But when you start putting symbols on people, it becomes the start of a genocide. To stop symbolization, you need to ban hate symbols, hate speech, and some gang clothing. When you hear hate radio or hate propaganda, this is dehumanization. You can shut down those radio stations, and the hate propaganda can be banned. To stop organization, you should outlaw membership to the genocidal militias, and their leaders should be denied visa for foreign travel. For polarization, you should back up human rights groups and provide security for moderate leaders who might be threatened. At preparation, you need to call a genocide alert, because they are preparing to kill and hurt innocent people. Soon after preparation comes extermination, and at this stage only rapid, overwhelming armed intervention can stop genocide. Real safe areas and refugee escape corridors should be established with heavily armed international protection. The best response to denial is punishment by the international tribunal or national courts. There is evidence to be heard and perpetrators to be punished. You can help right now by logging on to genocide help sites like InvisibleChildren.com and AmnestyUSA.org. You can also log on to survival.es. There are genocides happening right now, so log on and see what you can do to help.